Good morning. And thank you, choir, and John, and Jeff, and thanks to Creator for the beautiful dawn this morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Fort Myers in person, and for those of you online, where our mission is to love, grow, and serve, or as we sometimes say, inspired by our bond of love, we commit to doing the individual spiritual work to transform ourselves, that we may actively serve others by actually embodying the 8 principles that are our covenantal community bond. A special warm welcome to each and every one of you personally this morning. If this is your first visit with us, no matter who you are, whatever it is that led you to be with us this morning, or wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we hope your expectations of being in a loving and supportive community will be fulfilled many, many times over. And if you have not already done so, please fill out a connection card available at the welcome table in the narthex. Sharing your contact information is the best way we have of being able to actually be here for you as you explore your spiritual path and the many facets of the UU faith tradition. If you've been with us for a very long time, and I see some of you here who have been, we hope that you will be inspired and recharged with enthusiasm as we work for the greater good of this beloved community in process. My name is Gary Robbins, and I'm honored to be your worship associate this morning, and along with a host of others, seen and unseen, here in our tech booth and from Costa Rica to other parts of Lee County, helping this service actually come to fruition. Just a couple of housekeeping details. During the service today, if you are on Zoom with us, please keep muted and do not chat throughout the service, but feel free, of course, to sing your heart out on the hymns when we get to those. And for those of you who are with us in person this morning, please mute your phones so that they will not be disruptive to those around. In the spirit of Thanksgiving just past, I wish to acknowledge the day following Thanksgiving that since 2008 has been celebrated as Native American Heritage Day, and the month of November since 1990 has been designated as Native American Heritage Month, both times to celebrate the contributions our indigenous neighbors have made and continue to make to the quality of our lives and the incredible vision they have of the sacredness of the earth and everything that has being. We also acknowledge the history of the Calusa Indians on whose land we reside, as well as the Miccosukee and Seminoles and all of Creator's creatures from whom we have taken and occupied their land. As descendants of those who came to build a new life on this continent, we cannot right all the wrongs of the past, but we have a lot of work to do to reimagine a brand new dream of our country that is built on respect for all of the UU principles we profess in our covenant, and to help make them manifest for all our citizens in all the work we engage in to create an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, and socially just human presence on this planet. We are a living, spiritual, beloved community, and we are here to be open to our deepest personal selves, that we may also help transform the systems of our society to bring peace with all of Creator's sacred manifestations, so that we might know true peace on earth, not only for ourselves, but for all future generations of all species. Let us now join in continuing this transformational, heart-centered wisdom quest as we begin our morning service.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you in the sanctuary, please rise as you are able in body or spirit for our call to worship, chalice lighting, covenant, and opening hymn. Come into this place of peace and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory and let its history warm your soul. Come into this place of prophecy and power and let its vision change your heart. Let us light our chalice as we do each time we gather as Unitarian Universalists and we say our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this congregation and service its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our opening hymn is number 22 in your gray hymnal or on your screen, Dear Weaver of Our Lives' Design.
Is 728, Blessed Are Those, by John Behrens, former president of UUA. Blessed are those who yearn for deepening more than escape, who are not afraid to grow in spirit. Are those who take seriously the bonds of community, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much to minister as to be ministered unto. Blessed are those who bring their children, who invite their friends to come along, to join in fellowship, service, learning, and growth. Blessed are those who support the church and its work by their regular, sustained, and generous giving, and who give of themselves no less than their money. Blessed are those who know that the church is often imperfect, yet rather than harbor feelings of anger or disappointment, bring their concerns and needs to the attention of the church leaders. Blessed are those who, when asked to serve, do it gladly, realize that change is brought about through human meeting, who do the work of committees and stay till the end. Blessed are those who speak their minds in meetings, who can take and give criticism, and keep alive their sense of humor. Church is a transformation of society who have a vision of the community, transcending the present, and who do not shrink from controversy, sacrifice, or change. Blessed are they indeed. And blessed are you indeed. Blessed are we, all of us. For even before we were born, there were people ministering to our perceived needs and our well-being. As babies and small children, more ministers. Let us give recognition to them all, for we would not be who we have become without their ministrations. As young people searching for our path ahead, who were those who were there for us, challenging us to stretch our comfort zone, comforting us when we were most challenged. Who were they? Do you remember? As young adults and adults, who were those who were there for us? Who still is there for us? Can you picture them? Can you name their contributions? Can you acknowledge them and thank them silently or actively? And who have we blessed with our ministrations, our service, our care, our aid? What do we still have within ourselves to offer, to give, to minister? A call, a visit, a warm gesture, working for a cause, just being present with someone? We are all ministers. Each new dawn, each new moment offers us the golden opportunity to choose the nature of our personal ministry. One of our ways of expressing our ministry is our Stones of Intention ceremony. It is a time when we reflect on significant events in our personal lives as well as in the life of our congregation. And I'm sorry to announce this morning that Peg Felix, who many of you have known, died this past week at Shell Point. And new member Mary Kluzicki, her husband Peter, passed away this week. Those of you in the book group, I believe, know Mary well. There are many within our community who are experiencing various levels of loss, trauma, illness, and concerns. We are surrounded, and you are surrounded, by an orb of love and caring. If there's any way that we may be of service to you, please reach out to Reverend Sue or to members of our pastoral care committee that we might be of help in your time of need. Please fill out a connection card that we might be able to help you in any possible way. And in addition, if you have concern about others you believe we should know about, please share that in a connection card as well. Whether you are here for the very first time or have been here many times, I invite you to come forward during the music meditation to offer a stone of intention. If you did not pick up one stone at the narthex, you may pick up one from the bowls here on the chancel. And as you cradle the stone in your hands, you may ask it to symbolize and hold your intentions your reflections, prayers, a joy, a sorrow, or a milestone in your life. As you place the stone in the sand, it will join all of our offered intentions and prayers in the spirit of love and peace. Please come forward now for your sharing at this time. And now I place 3 final stones for all unspoken prayers, meditations, and intentions. A stone for respect. A stone for kindness. And a stone for compassion. May each of these be present in all of our relations. May our prayers be heard and our hearts restored.
Let us join our hearts in the spirit of prayer and meditation. We enter this house of worship in our physical bodies or electronically, often in need. We need one another for comfort in times of sadness, when we are afraid and trembling. We need each other to celebrate and to mourn as we mark life's passages. We need each other's help in the chores of the everyday. We need each other to share our successes. We need each other to share our fragile bodies and souls. We need each other to aid us in the impossible so that we become spiritual beings. Let us be thankful in this season of gratitude for each other as we minister to one another and we grow in faith and in love. Blessed be and amen. And you can feel free to stay seated as we sing reflectively hymn number 86, Blessed Spirit of My Life. So, who is the minister at UUCFM? It's an easy question, right? In this moment, officially, I am. But I think we should also add Mary Klein Golditz as a lay minister. And what about Gary as a minister of the earth? And Mary Tracy as our Buddhist minister? Judy as our membership of as our minister of membership, John as our music minister, and there are so many other examples. So what is ministry anyway, and what does it mean to be the minister? To me, ministry is serving others through the church, through the congregation. It's done with love and faith. It's born out of our innate need to help one another. We are loving creatures, and we are at our best when we are engaged in activities that are nurturing and uplifting to one another. Ministry is sustained by our faith. Our beliefs drive us to move beyond ourselves and to assure us that the work that we do is meaningful. outside of ourselves. Without faith, we would be discouraged. There would be less hope for creating a better world. Neil Shadell states that ministry is the vocation of every person of faith, and Unitarian Universalism, as a democratic faith, affirms what we call the priesthood of all believers. In fact, we are all ministers, whether or not we choose to be professional religious leaders, like I am, having gone to seminary. We are all ministers. Many of us find our opportunities to express our faithful service to each other within the congregation. When we enter the congregation as separate individuals, sometimes lonely, sometimes troubled and lost, and the experience of ministering to each other, to others, helps to transform us. We become part of a meaningful and devoted community. I see this so often in this congregation as you take care of each other. Our ministering to one another can take many forms, and we might not even know that what we are doing is ministry. We assume leadership roles on committees or for special events. We share our talents as musicians, singers, facilitators, teachers. We cook for one another. We check in with people to make sure that everything's okay with them that day. Our simple smiles lift the loneliness from each other's hearts as we greet each other at worship, as we come together on Zoom. We raise money for other organizations and look beyond our church community. These are all tasks of the minister, of a minister. It is also here in the congregation, in the context of our community, that we learn what it means to minister to one another and how vital our interconnectedness is. We come together as an extended and chosen family. We need one another. We rely upon one another. We share our stories of joys and sorrows, and we learn more about each other in book group, in connection circles, in potlucks, as we socialize together, as we weed the gardens out back. We support one another in tragedy and in triumph. And through those experiences, we discover more about ourselves and our strengths and weaknesses. We become each other's strongholds in moments of weakness and temptation. And here we discover our own vulnerabilities, and we learn to become humble. We learn what it means to pull together in a crisis. We also learn what it means to take a stand in the world. We do these things as individuals, but more powerfully, we do them together as a congregation. And we learn to minister by example. Through education and support, we learn to model our lives after folks who have come before us, who have been well respected. We learn to take care of ourselves in every area and develop our spiritual side. Phillips Brooks said, "We never become truly spiritual by just sitting down and wishing to become so. You must undertake something so great that you cannot accomplish it unaided." Here at UUCFM, we do aid each other in the impossible. We do things that we could never do alone, and thus help become more spiritual. We do all this with common Unitarian Universalist principles in mind, which I would say are universal principles. And according to Rabbi Harold Kushner, he said, it makes an immense difference whether we see ourselves as isolated individuals at war with the rest of the world, or as links in a network of human beings who are working for each other's happiness, as well as our own, and depending on other people to help us find what we cannot get for ourselves. More than any other place, a faith community like our congregation helps to foster our interconnectedness as we search for meaning. Sometimes when people ask me what Unitarian Universalism is, and I don't have quite enough time to explain it in detail, I simply say, we are a group of seekers. We are trying to understand the big questions. We are trying to help change the world for the better. And it's a lot more possible if we do it together and in community. It's not enough, however, if we learn to do all of this and come together and minister only to one another within the confines of our beautiful congregational campus and extending into the Zoom world. What we do in public as individuals and as a congregation mediates to others our faith in the world. We as a congregation make statements and take social actions. I loved on our slides this morning all of the different ways we can engage in what's happening in our world. We can sign petitions and attend the seed sale with Reset. We can do all of these things that we are committed to in action. Historically, as you know, UUs have taken stands against slavery in support of women's rights. We have spoken out against all kinds of injustice in the world, and we have promised to uphold the right of conscience and use of the democratic process, the principles for which our faith are bound to. We improve the quality of life of many members of our greater community by contributing to our sharing partners, to being a welcoming congregation, by welcoming the stranger that we talked about in last week's service, if you were here, as we gathered at our gratitude table. We are ministers in the world every day of our lives. The foundation of how we believe people should relate to one another, which is what we call our polity. That's the fancy word sort of for how we organize ourselves as Unitarian Universalism and how we govern ourselves. It affirms our charge to be ministers to one another. We come from congregational roots, and we believe that we have responsibility in our congregations. In addition to the official or professional minister, I, in this case, are called by the congregation, but can also become a member because we are equal in our accountability and our responsibilities to one another. We are all ministers, perhaps some more reluctant than others. Or are we just reluctant messiahs? Most of us, many of us who came from a Christian background were taught that there was only one Messiah. Is it possible to believe that we are all ministers and some of us, in fact, are messiahs? I attended Andover Newton Theological School for seminary in Boston. Historically and traditionally, Andover Newton is a Christian school. Its roots are in the American Baptist and United Church of Christ congregational churches. So often, when colleagues of mine would find out that I don't self-identify as a Christian, they would ask, but what do you do about Jesus? Their theology dictated that their faith revolves around Jesus as the Messiah. So they could not fathom what spiritual life would be like without what they understand as the one true Christian Son of God who came to save the world. What was I doing at a Christian seminary? So what do Unitarian Universalists do about the Messiah? Is there such a thing? And if there is, who is it? Is it Jesus? Is it someone we have never heard of? Did we perhaps miss the Messiah somewhere? Did we fail to recognize the Messiah's existence? Messiah, according to the dictionary, means a leader of some hope or cause. Idealism, an aggressive spirit, and a sense of historic mission define this person. Think about that. A leader of hope, a leader of a cause, an idealist, someone with an aggressive spirit and historic mission. I think you may know some of these folks that have these qualities. Jesus, the Christian Messiah, certainly had these qualities. And even though I don't identify as a Christian, I affirm Jesus's life and his works. A great man, a teacher, perhaps even a prophet. His life was certainly one to be emulated. But what I don't believe personally is that Jesus was the one and only Messiah. Perhaps he is one of many men and women who live a life of service to others. People whose lives have been abundant with great works, manifesting perhaps miracles in their own little corners of the world. Surely there have been many men and women who have died for their cause. And I know that in this moment in the world, as broken as it is, there are men and women leading and living and dying for other people. And so I say that in some way, we are all Jesuses in our own way. Every day around the world, in the sanctuary where you sit right now, on Zoom, we worship together, we feed the hungry, we clothe the poor, we build community, we plant trees, we heal one another, we teach one another, we care, we nurture the children, we make sacrifices for others, we make peace, and we teach love. Perhaps we are all aspiring messiahs. You may have already heard this story, but it's a beautiful story about a group of monks who consulted a rabbi for help when their community seemed to be falling apart. 7 monks remained in a once lively monastery out in the woods, somewhere in medieval Europe. Nearby, also deep in the woods, a rabbi had his hermitage, his place for spiritual retreat, to refresh him when his congregational life began to get him down. The monks were desperate as they found they could not stop bickering. They would have these long periods of resentful silence and grumpiness. Finally, one of them left, but it was no help. Community life was still as difficult as before, and the remaining 6 were demoralized. What was their future? Then one day, when they saw smoke rising from the direction of the rabbi's hermitage, all 6 of them went tramping through the woods to ask his advice. What should they do? How could they turn their community around? They sat outside the little hermitage and told the rabbi of their plight. The rabbi sat in thought for a long time. Then he went into his little house and he prayed for even longer. And when he came out, he spoke, looking at each one individually, and said simply, "One of you is the Messiah." He excused himself and then went back into his hut. Now, before I go on with the story, it's important to point out that this Messiah in the story does not have to be the Christian idea of Messiah. You may think about whoever might fit your own theology: the Buddha, Dalai Lama, Allah, Martin Luther King Jr., Moses, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi. There are many more examples. The monks received the message, "One of you is the Messiah." They walked back to their monastery in disbelief, each one silently thinking, "One of us is the Messiah." But who? Which one? Surely it's not Brother John. On the other hand, it could be Brother James, but he has a lot of faults. Not me. I'm certainly too flawed to be the Messiah. And so each one was thinking these same things. Not one could be sure which one might be the Messiah. And you know what? It changed the way they treated each other. Everyone listened more carefully to everyone else, for they thought they might be hearing the words of the Messiah. Everyone spoke more from the heart, expecting that at least one of the others would understand, since after all, one of them was the Messiah. They all treated each other with great respect. Their infrequent visitors also began to notice a change. Soon, visitors became more frequent, as in the days of old before things went bad, because something changed in the energy of the worship in that secluded place. Before long, new people came to join, a new postulant, and they told him the secret that one of them was the Messiah. But of course, by that time, they weren't at all sure that perhaps this new postulant was not himself the Messiah, so they told him that too. And they treated him with respect, listening, speaking from the heart. They spoke the truth in love, even when they disagreed. For monastic life is much like congregational life. Disagreements arise on many occasions. In just a few years, the holiness of this community was so palpable that people traveled great distances to worship in the presence of these monks. The community grew larger, their spiritual life was deeper than ever, and you know what? They never found out who was the Messiah. And they never stopped expecting that one of them was in fact the Messiah. Even long after the original 6 monks who had gone to see the rabbi in his little hermitage in the wood had been laid to rest in the grove behind the sanctuary, they still remembered the rabbi's wisdom. One of you is the Messiah. Can you imagine what the world would be like if we treated everyone as if they might be the Messiah? What would our world be like if we always listened with our hearts, spoke the truth in love, treated each other with respect? What if we all thought that as we were cut off by one of those super fast cars on I-75 or even on Daniels, what if we thought that that person in that Mustang may become a saint someday? Would we still send them that same gestured message? What if we listened to each other as if we were listening to the words of the Dalai Lama? Would we be as distracted or as consumed by the trivia of the day? What if we spoke with the compassion and caring we would if we knew that we were in the presence of Jesus? Would we still speak with prejudice and harsh words? What if we acted toward children the way we would if Mother Teresa was among us? Would we dare to abuse or neglect or abandon? Are there messiahs among us now? If we say yes, will this make a difference in how we behave and treat one another? I say yes. There are messiahs among us. Why not? Why not? Perhaps they are the reluctant type who simply want to do their job or be retired, but are persistently called to do more. Perhaps they are humble in words and deeds, but their spirit gives them away. Perhaps they feel the work they are doing is very ordinary, like all of the work that you are doing in this congregation, yet you inspire awe. Perhaps they are tired or afraid to deliver their message, but their message comes through because of their being, because of their presence, because of their exemplified living. Perhaps sometimes we forget the Messiah is among us because we are caught up in our daily lives, too caught up to see and hear them. Maybe we secretly think we could be the Messiah, but then we remember and emphasize only our flaws as the monks did. How does one become the Messiah? We dedicate ourselves to a hope or a cause. You are doing that. We tap into our heart and conjure up an ideal and aggressive spirit as we set out on a mission. You do that. Perhaps it is easy as remembering the lives that we have lived, our triumphs, our failures, all on the path to being better people and to saving the world, believing in the power to help ourselves, and believing we are all children of the holy, and that if we believe this, and we believe this about each other, then so it is. I hope that this week you look for the Messiah among your people. Blessed be and amen.
Blessed be, for sure, all you messiahs in the making, and all the messiahs you will meet this coming week. Now, by our affiliation with this congregation, we have made the commitment of support for the fullness of life as expressed in the incredible 8 principles of the UUA, and for their propagation within our congregational life, and also for the promotion and adoption of their essence in our broader community life. These are regenerative gifts that the world so desperately needs in this period of transition and emergence. A message of spiritual and social transformation we must discover, uncover, share, and inculcate into the fabric of our broader community. One of the ways we live these spiritual values in the world is by making them real through the form of our personal financial contributions. We are now invited to make manifest our commitment to this community and to be generous in giving support to the work of this congregation and our designated community sharing organization during this very challenging time. And this month's community sharing partner is the Alliance for Fair Food. The Alliance for Fair Food is the vibrant, diverse ally network of the Coalition of Immokalee Workers, CIW, the internationally acclaimed farm worker organization transforming human rights in the U.S. agricultural industry. The principal focus of the Alliance for Fair Food is the Campaign for Fair Food, a farm worker-led community-powered movement that successfully holds major food retailers accountable to the highest human rights standards in their produce supply chains. Now, I know many from this congregation have been active in the work of the Alliance for Fair Food and CIW and its affiliate organizations. So the Alliance has enjoyed our support for a very long time. I urge you to go to the Alliance for Fair Food website for further information on their history and the wonderful successes that they have brought within their industry. As is our custom here at UUCFM, all undesignated funds in the offering will be given to our partner. You may also designate a portion of your offering to the Alliance, either on your check or envelope, or for those of you contributing online, please use the donate button on the website and marking it as you wish for community sharing in the congregation. And you know my little side comment. Reach into your purse, reach into your pocket, and I checked my pocket this morning, and unfortunately I don't have any change there, but the change we will not miss adds to the contribution we can make to the Alliance for Fair Food. So please feel free to give that loose change. And now may you generously contribute to the great work of this congregation and our community sharing partner, as surely your contributions will be gratefully received.
My life was an endless song. How can I keep from singing? No storm trenches my inmost calm.
Please rise as you are able in body or spirit, and join with me in the words of gratitude as we receive.
Of our hearts, our love is made real. May we be grateful for all that is given and grateful for all that is shared.
Let us now extinguish our chalice together with the words that are printed on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our closing words this morning are by Leo Buscaglia. Each act makes us manifest. It is what we do rather than what we feel or what we say we do that reflects who and what we truly are. Each of our acts makes a statement as to our purpose. This does not mean that we can only find significance by winning a Nobel Prize or engaging in world-shaking inventions, life-saving exploits, or artistic triumphs. It does mean doing the thing which is uniquely ours to do, whatever that may be, and doing it well. We need not be a Salk, a Curry, a Jefferson, a Keller, or a King in order to give to the world. We can all leave our indelible and significant marks upon the world. Anything which leads to good, to joy, to understanding, to acceptance is significant. It is this knowledge of one's ability to contribute to a universal, continual, and infinite process that adds special meaning to our lives. Our closing hymn is number 38, Morning Has Broken.
Love that. Thank you all. We look forward to seeing you all next Sunday, both here at our Zoom address and our beautiful UUCFM campus here in the sanctuary. Please share the joy you have experienced here at UUCFM with family, with friends, and invite them to join us in this beloved community and all that we stand for and all that we do. During the postlude, please greet your neighbor here in the sanctuary or electronically at home. And for those present in person, please join us all for a coffee hour in Hobart Hall. For those of you online, there will be an online talk-back conversation following the service with Reverend Sue. So we bid you a joyous day and farewell from the sanctuary until we can once again share the joy of your presence. May we all be caught up in the sacred spirit of creating the world of belonging our hearts know is possible. And may the light of our inner being shine so brightly in our every interaction. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere you may go. Go now in peace for all our relations. Amen.